The original palace was started in 1705. It took about 16 years to actually build it and complete it. And in the 1750s, during time of renovation and repair, they added on to the very back the ballroom and supper room, rooms you'll see towards the end of your visit. And it was the home for 5 royal lieutenant governors, 2 royal full governors, and 2 governors of the Commonwealth of Virginia. Now the large portrait on my right here is a portrait of Lieutenant Governor Alexander Spotswood. He was the first royal lieutenant governor who lived inside the house. He's also important because he's very much actively involved in the development and architecture of the palace and grounds you'll see today. He's also the man that designed the magazine down at Market Square, which is one of our 88 original buildings. The last royal full governor, John Murray, 4th Earl of Dunmore, Lord Dunmore. I have his picture on the mantle in the very center, the man in the kilts. He, of course, remained loyal to the king, and in June of 1775, he and his family flee the palace, never to return. The following spring in May, out in the capital, the 5th Virginia Convention met, and in May of 1776, the colony of Virginia declared itself to be free and independent of England. And they sent that resolution up to Philadelphia to the Second Continental Congress to urge all 13 colonies to take the same action. And they, of course, do. But after this gentleman in Virginia declared himself to be free and independent, they realized they had to establish a new form of government, had to elect a governor. And in June of 1776, they elected the first governor of the Commonwealth of Virginia. And the first elected governor to live in that house was Mr. Patrick Henry, Jr. We have his picture on the mantle to the right of Lord Dunmore, the man in the red jacket. According to the new Virginia Constitution, he could serve up to 3 one-year terms of office, and then he had to step down. And that's exactly what he did. And after his 3rd term of office was over, the second and last elected governor to live in the house moves in. And does anyone happen to know, or like to guess who that second elected governor was? This is Thomas Jefferson, like she said. Thomas Jefferson. And we have his picture on the mantle on the far right. He served for 2 one-year terms and then stepped down. And it was during his second term in 1780 that the capital, the seat of governors, moved from Williamsburg on up the road to Richmond. So the palace remained empty for over a year until the fall of 1781. And at that time was taken over by the Continental Army to be used as a military hospital for the sick and injured from the battle and siege at Yorktown. And then in December of 1781, as reported by the Virginia Gazette, very close to Christmas time, the palace was destroyed by a fire of unknown sources. It took about 16 years to build the building. It took about 3 hours to bring it on down. Luckily, only 1 soldier was killed in that fire. Cologne and Williamsburg Foundation got the property in the 1920s. In the late 1920s, early 1930s, did the archaeological reconstruction work, completed building in 1934. Now, in a few moments, we're going to be stepping into the governor's house. And as we do go through, we're, of course, going to be talking about the building, what would have been going on inside, and how the spaces would have been used. We'll also be talking about the last royal governor, Lord Dunmore and his family, and what life would have been like for them inside the house, as well as for their guests. But there's going to be another population of people inside that house as well, and that's the servants. Lord Dunmore had over 24 paid English servants, over 12 indentured servants, and owned over 60 enslaved people. They're not all going to be on the property here, yet on the properties as well. So try to imagine how different their experience would have been from Lord Dunmore and his family and from their guests. And as we go through the building, a couple quick things we do ask. We do ask while you're inside our building, be no eating or drinking. Do keep all food and drink capped and wrapped. If you have any electronic devices, cell phones, anything that makes a funny noise, it's a courtesy to others. Just turn them off and put them on a silent mode. And you are more than welcome to take photography as we go through the building. And if you have any questions or curiosity about anything at any time, please feel free to ask. My name is Ken. I'll be glad to answer any questions you might have. And when we do step into the governor's house, in the grand entry hall, I will invite you all to take a look at the 2 side rooms. The room on the left will be the pantry, the room on the right will be the parlor. And the objects you'll see behind the barriers, many of those things are original from the 18th century. And based on various inventories, we have a pretty good idea of what was inside the governor's house in 1776. So if you're able, head on over to the governor's house.